Bathroom movie review time. Zombies were all the rage back in the early 2000s, and apparently they're the rage again. Last year we got 28 Years Later, and now we got its sequel. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. And get it? Because rage, like the rage virus? I'm clever. So I heard that a director named Nia DaCosta was directing this. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, cool, what else has she done? And she had done The Marvels. Yes, The Marvels. So my expectations went way down, which was a shame because I really liked 28 Years Later. I will preface it with this. I've never seen 28 Days Later or 28 Weeks Later. I've seen clips, I can piece enough together, I get the story. So maybe if I'd watched those, it would be different. But 28 Years Later was great. I get how people say it felt like two different movies, but I really liked the aspect that it was very gritty and kind of more horror-based in the first half. And then the second half is an adventure to help his mom. It had a lot more heart to it than I would have expected. And then meeting Ralph Fiennes' character, Dr. Ian Kelson, the movie had a lot more going for it than I thought. But I still went in and I watched The Bone Temple, and with a new director and a new tone, is this movie worth the hype? That is a great question, and we will get to that shortly. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple follows shortly just a few days after 28 Years Later ends. In that ending, we see our protagonist Spike running from a bunch of zombies, taking them on, and right as he's about to get overrun, here come the punk rocker assassins dress-up gang. So the start of 28 Years Later, we see punk rocker assassins dress-up gang, known as the Fingers, as they've accepted Spike into their gang after he proves himself in a brutal entry hazing tradition. And this gang's main goal is to follow their leader Jimmy and find Old Nick, aka Satan. But another big part of this movie is we do have Dr. Ian Kelson back. He meets the alpha zombie Samson. He notices a twinge of humanity in this zombie. So right off the bat, you have conflicting tones in this movie. You've got Jimmy, well, they're all called Jimmy, but the leader Jimmy, as he's killing people and searching for Satan. And he's not just killing people, he is torturing them. I'll be honest, these movies aren't always my vibe because it's just so disturbing. But our actor, Jack O'Connell, who plays Jimmy, does it well. I mean, he is completely psycho. And the thing that makes him the most psycho is he's not pretending and lying to his gang about Old Nick. He really does believe they're doing the work of Satan. And not only that, but that his father is Satan. He's like a mix of the Joker and like an 80s rock star. And it's just very unique. I mean, what also makes him scary is Jimmy is basically a child. I mean, he tells his victims about Teletubbies and how cool it was and how, and how they had TVs in their stomachs, and it's so unsettling. But at least he sticks to his principles, because after this movie, I was thinking, WWJD, what would Jimmy do? A lot of sick, terrible things. That's what he does. On the other side, we have the good old Dr. Ian, who's built up this bone temple, which you'd think is satanic, but no, it's to give respect to the dead. And I think it helps him keep his humanity. He's serving. And now he's trying to also help an alpha zombie. By the way, standout performance from Chi Lewis Perry. Chi, C-H-I. He kills it as Samson. I mean, yeah, alpha zombies are terrifying, but if I just saw this guy walking down the street and he had an angry look on his face and he was coming towards me, I'd be pretty terrified because this guy is a mountain. And I really like that side of the story with Dr. Ian working to help this alpha zombie figure out what's going on with the rage virus. And they create like, I don't know if bond's the right word, but they do something really neat with these two characters that I was not expecting. And you'll have to tell me in the comments, have these movies always been this way with just this 28 Years Later, I get it. It was very much the theme of family and just about family bonds. And then The Bone Temple is definitely about the theme of evil and how does evil come about. But it almost didn't even feel like, it wasn't like a large-scale zombie movie. It was very much just focused on Jimmy and his cult, and then the doctor and what he's trying to accomplish. It was almost like an episode of a season. But those conflicting tones didn't create a mess. It worked. They just had some absurd moments. And without spoiling anything, I'll just say this. This movie was metal. I mean, there's this scene with the doctor, and part of me was like, I cannot believe they're doing this. This is ridiculous. But that's what I've come to find in these movies, is they do ridiculous things and it works. Like the relationship that the doctor builds with Samson in this movie. You'll find out. It's interesting. I was disappointed that Aaron Taylor Johnson wasn't back in this movie, though they greenlit the third movie, so I'm sure we'll see him come back, maybe on some redemption arc to come save his son. I'd like to see more of him. But the main thing I wanted is just more zombies. There wasn't that many zombies in this movie, and I get it. The movie isn't about zombies. This movie is about the aftermath and how it's affecting people and this cult. And maybe it's because I haven't seen 28 Days Later or 28 Weeks Later. Maybe those are the crazy, hectic zombie movies, and we've already seen that. But I do think just having like an extra few minutes of just some crazy scene with hordes of zombies would have been nice. The other thing is Spike. The first 28 years later ends with him just becoming a man. I mean, the whole movie, he's like, ah, Dad, and he's missing zombies with his bow. He's scared. But then by the end, he goes out on his own and he's like, I've got to go on this journey to become a man. And then the second movie starts off and he gets captured by this cult and joins them. And once again, but, I kind of wanted to see him like, manly. Had that same vibe that he did at the end of the other movie. Though I'll admit, if they had gone with that route, might have not been a good choice. Because the second movie really dives into how terrifying this cult is. And I guess if I was in his shoes, and I'm a 31-year-old man, and I saw the things they were doing, I'd probably also be like... Then the other thing is, how is Jimmy and this cult surviving? You never really see them at a home base, and there can't be that many survivors around to steal from. How you doing it, Jimmy? But once again, that's not the focus of the movie. This movie did make me consider, if a zombie apocalypse did happen, would there be survivors that became crazy like this cult? And yes, there'd be people turning bad. We've seen that in all sorts of movies and in real life. But to this level of like believing Jimmy's the son of Satan and doing these terrible things to people, I was 50-50. Part of me thinks it's over the top. But then again, if you'd seen this level of cruelty and you were around it enough, you probably would get pretty messed up and just do what they do. I don't know. But I'd like to think humanity is a little better than that. But yet, real life is always proving there's extremes in both. Really good people and some pretty terrible people. In the end, though, guys, this movie was great. It's not my style. I don't get excited to go see them because I know they're going to make me... But I'm going to go see the third when it comes out. Especially after seeing the last 5 minutes of the movie. There's some cool things that happen. Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts were. Please!